How did you discover the base barber was giving everyone the same haircut on purpose? I found out during my second week at Fort Campbell when I noticed something weird about our entire company. We all looked identical from behind. Same buzz cut length, same fade pattern, same everything. At first I figured it was just military regulation, but then I saw guys from other units with different styles. Our barber was this older civilian named Eddie who'd been cutting hair on base for 15 years. Real quiet guy, never made small talk, just point to the chair and get to work. In and out in 10 minutes flat. The weird part was he never asked what you wanted. Other barbers would ask about length, fade style, sideburns. Eddie just started cutting the moment you sat down. Same pattern every time. I mentioned it to my bunkmate Jake during chow. Have you noticed we all have identical haircuts? He looked around the mess hall. Holy crap, you're right. Every single guy in our company looks like we came off an assembly line. We started paying closer attention. Eddie had this system down to a science. Electric clippers, same guard size, same technique, same result. It was like watching a machine operate. But here's what made us suspicious. Eddie had a notebook next to his mirror. Every time someone sat down, he'd flip through it, find a page, then start cutting. Why would he need notes for the same haircut? Jake volunteered to investigate, scheduled an appointment, and tried to peek at the notebook while getting his haircut. What he saw made no sense at all. The notebook was full of detailed sketches. Not haircut diagrams, but faces. Dozens of face drawings with measurements and notes written beside them. Eddie was studying our faces while cutting our hair. That night, Jake told me what he'd seen. The guy's got drawings of everyone's head shape, ear size, even jawline angles. This isn't about following regulations. He's doing something else entirely. We decided to ask Eddie directly. Next day, I went in for a trim and worked up the courage. Hey, Eddie, just curious, why do you give everyone the same cut? He stopped mid-snip, looked at me in the mirror for a long moment, then set down his clippers and opened that notebook. Turned it around so I could see the pages. Every drawing was incredibly detailed. Precise measurements, notes about facial structure, even comments about personality traits he'd observed. The guy was an artist, not just a barber. You want to know the real reason? Eddie asked. I give everyone the same cut because your commanding officers specifically requested it. They want unit cohesion, identical appearance, no individual expression. He flipped to the front of the notebook where a letter was taped inside the cover. Official base letterhead signed by our battalion commander. Instructions to maintain strict uniformity in all haircuts regardless of soldier preferences. But here's what they don't know, Eddie continued. I've been documenting every face I cut for 15 years. Every angle, every feature, every detail. This notebook represents thousands of soldiers who passed through here. He showed me pages of faces from years past. Some labeled with deployment locations, others with notes about their stories, their fears, their dreams they'd shared during haircuts. I wanted to remember them individually, even if I had to cut them identically. This notebook is my way of honoring each person's uniqueness while following orders. Eddie closed the notebook and picked up his clippers again. Your haircut might look the same as everyone else's, but I see you as completely different. That's what matters to me. He finished my haircut in his usual silence, but everything felt different now. When I stood up, he handed me a small piece of paper, my face perfectly sketched with a note at the bottom. Private Mike, asks good questions, cares about others, will make a great leader someday. Keep that curiosity. Word spread through our company about Eddie's real purpose. Guys started actually talking to him during haircuts instead of sitting in silence, sharing stories, asking about his art, treating him like a person instead of just a service. 3 months later, battalion changed the hair policy. Soldiers could choose from 3 approved styles instead of just one. Eddie finally got to show his real skills as a barber, but he kept that notebook. Still draws every face that sits in his chair. Last month, when I transferred to a different base, he handed me a complete sketch of myself in dress uniform. At the bottom, he'd written, "Thanks for seeing me as more than just the guy who cuts hair."